Viva Real, Real Estate for the Americas, where we interview local market experts. Today I'm with Jose Gonzalez. He is a real estate broker with offices in Salem, Oregon, Baja California, Mexico City, and Guadalajara. So welcome to the show.
Well, first of all, thank you very much, Brian, for the opportunity. And, we're doing well. We're definitely keeping busy. I think people need our education more than ever during these times.
Jose, tell us a little bit more about, you're in Salem, Oregon. You do business up there, obviously, and you're also down in Mexico. So tell us a little bit more about your background and kind of how that works.
And it's funny because people, when they find out I'm in Salem, Oregon, they don't see a connection. They think it's funny that I'm here doing what I do. But I tell people, if I can do it from here, they can do it from anywhere. In other words, keep connected, find out about opportunities, and do it in a safe way. A little bit about me: I've been a licensed broker for 13 years. Our company has been in the Salem market for 16, and I've been principal broker now for 4 of those years. And a few years ago, I guess maybe a year or two after when I took over, we kept seeing a trend, and we kept being approached by people wanting to go to Mexico, whether it was to invest or they had some questions or even just what's a fun place to travel to. So because we serve the Hispanic market, I think people thought of us, or they just see us as that connection to Mexico. Hey, we know those guys. If we're going to ask anybody about Mexico, let's go ask them. So that prompted us to go out there and keep going with this.
That's great. So tell me a little bit about what kind of trends are you seeing as far as Americans buying real estate in Mexico?
I think the main trend is people will invest where they're comfortable with. So maybe they go down for a family trip and they keep visiting a certain area, and that's where eventually they start buying and wanting to invest in. And let me tell you what our market is. Our market, that's almost a secondary market to what we've been handling. We cater to the Hispanic community in Salem, Oregon, and we've been helping them buy homes back where they're from, or assisting their family buy homes. Sometimes the money comes from here, and the purchaser, the homeowner, is in Mexico, so we facilitate that. Because sometimes there's a worry. There's a lot of even people from Mexico worry about buying in Mexico. They're not up to the latest regulations, so they worry a little bit. So we help them, and it was important for us to open up offices down there because there's nobody better than someone on the ground to assist us and educate us and keep us in line. So what happens is with those trends that we see, we're able to help other people, Americans, Canadians, whoever wants to. We can safely say, let me tell you from the ground what we see.
Sure.
Yeah.
What would you say are the biggest differences when buying real estate in the United States versus Mexico?
I would say that the two main differences is one is the culture. The level of service is different. Not better or worse, but just different, So it's the communication between the professionals down there, the way they work on a daily basis. Some of them are comfortable with email, some of them it's phone, some of them, there's a lot of vacations down there, so things definitely move a lot slower. I think that's what people have to get used to. The second thing goes along with that is just the process. It's much more manual. Here in the U.S., you want to find out about a property, you call a title company, and they spit out a report within a few minutes, and they can tell you everything about it. The taxes are paid, current ownership. Mexico, it's different. Just to give you an example, for a title policy, it's usually paid up front because of all the manual work that company has to do. So it's a little different. So I think those are the two main things. There's one, the process, and also the people that you have to deal with to get it done.
So how does title insurance work in Mexico?
Well, it works almost exactly the same as it does here. And I think it really helps the first-time Mexican buyer purchase down there because they're so used to it here. They assume it's down there. And having a title company, I guess it's what the trust that these title companies have built here in the U.S., it transcends that border. So for some of the buyers, they don't see a need in it. They don't need it, basically. But half of the other ones, the ones who are just trying to educate, and when that whole issue of title and ownership, when that whole topic comes up, all we say is, hey, do you know that Land America Lawyers Title is down there? Stewart Title is down there. First American Title can issue a title policy. Then most of those worries go out the window.
Yeah.
It helps out tremendously. I think so.
Mexico is obviously a big country with 110 million people, 31 states. Where are the people mostly interested in Mexico as far as a place to buy real estate?
That's a good question, because I know when we first started dealing internationally, we wanted to cover all of Mexico. We were telling everybody we can help them anywhere. But it's and nothing we couldn't assist them in purchasing in a certain area. But the problem is you can only focus and have expertise on certain areas, and it can grow. And so what we started, we focused on a couple areas. The first one is the Mexico City area. That's where our main office is. If anybody knows Mexico City, there's a big El Ángel Independencia, the Angel of Independence, right in the center. And our office is about a block and a half away, so it's a real neat area to visit. We focus on the Mexico City area. Alongside of that is Cuernavaca, a place that's been visited and home to many retirees for many years. A very nice place. And connected to that is Acapulco. Acapulco sometimes is not in the spotlight like maybe Cancun or Cabo, but the number one buyer in Acapulco is Mexican citizens. So that's the biggest pool. And so when you get down to that part of Mexico, you're going to see Europeans buying it there. It's very well established. And we have a developer. Actually, this is a tip for anybody. They're building a road that's going from Ixtapa to Acapulco. Before, it was a long, windy road that took about 3.5 to 4 hours to drive. They're going to cut that down to an hour and a half. There's going to be an airport right in the middle. And our developer has a bunch of land right there, and he's just waiting. And in the next year or two, there's going to be some good potential there. Yeah, and I guess the second area, Brian, is the Baja area, with that big port coming, Punta Colonet, that big port. There's a lot of interest. I think people are comfortable with Ensenada, Rosarito. People are comfortable with that area, especially people from California and the Canadians. They love that area. So they're looking for opportunities. There's just people, they'll buy up whatever is available because they see the potential. Even though we're going through this downturn, I don't think it scared many people away. I think people see the potential. And the other area is Guadalajara. And this is, I think this is where our approach is a little different, Brian, is in Salem, Oregon, the Mexican people that are living here come from primarily three areas. The state of Jalisco, which is where Guadalajara is located, the state of Michoacan, and the state of Oaxaca. So what's happened is, as these people start to age and start to do well here, they think about investing where they're from. So we're seeing some of those main cities, Oaxaca, the city of Oaxaca and the state of Oaxaca is growing very strongly. Zamora, Michoacan, and Guadalajara, Jalisco, they're growing because, first of all, there's a structure there, but also the people that have migrated over here, once they build up a healthy nest egg and they look to invest, a lot of them are going back and opening up. Maybe we have a local mechanic. He's been a mechanic for almost 30 years here in Oregon, and he went right back to Guadalajara, bought himself a house, and he's going to buy a commercial lot, and he wants to open up his own mechanic shop in the next few years. So that's what we're focusing on, where the people are investing. So if anybody asks me where are some good areas to invest, I name those because we see it every day.
And how have you seen recently the currency? I know there's been some, there's movement in the currency and the dollar's kind of strengthened. Has that kind of spurred any more interest in investment, or kind of given more incentive to people to invest in Mexico?
Yeah, I mean, I was just reading a report yesterday that tourism was up in 2008 because of the currency. And it's true, when we saw that dollar go from about $10.40, $10.50 a peso to $13, $14 pesos for a dollar, we called everybody. Hey, if you want to send money down, if you want to purchase something, now's the time. And when you look at the savings, I mean, I think it's definitely not good news for Mexico in that sense. But in what we see and what they're seeing is that it brings more people in. It brings more money in because now the dollar is very strong. No matter what people say about the dollar, when you're talking to people in Mexico, they see the dollar as a very strong instrument. They see it very strong. So it's well respected down there, and I think it'll always be.
Well, great. Thanks so much, Jose. It's been a pleasure speaking with you. Thanks for kind of giving some good tips to our listeners out there, and so let's definitely stay in touch, and I'd like to have you back on a future episode.
I appreciate that, Brian. I just want to thank you for taking the time, and I look forward to helping out any way I can.